Most men over 60 think waking up 3 times a night to go to the bathroom is just a normal part of getting older, a tax you pay for having another birthday. But here is an uncomfortable truth. Your bladder isn't getting weaker because of your age. It is fighting a silent, uphill battle against an expanding prostate that is slowly pinching your urethra like a kinked garden hose. If you ignore the warning signs, that minor inconvenience can quietly turn into sudden, painful urinary retention or irreversible bladder damage. I am Dr. Carl. For 16 years as a practicing urologist, I have helped thousands of men regain control of their lives and get back to sleeping through the night. Today, we are going to walk through the 6 warning signs of an enlarged prostate that every man over 60 needs to know. Pay very close attention to sign number 4 because it is the single most ignored red flag I see in my office, and men often mistake it for a simple muscle strain after a round of golf. Before we jump in, tell me down in the comments, how many times are you currently getting out of bed each night to use the bathroom? Drop your number below. I read every comment, and your experiences directly shape the topics I cover next to help our community. The first warning sign is what we call nocturnal frequency, or simply put, waking up multiple times during the night to urinate. In a healthy young body, your kidneys slow down urine production while you sleep, allowing you to rest 6 to 8 hours uninterrupted. But as your prostate enlarges, it acts like a tight collar around the neck of your bladder. Because the bladder can never fully empty during the day, it hits capacity much faster at night. Furthermore, the constant pressure irritates the sensitive lining of the bladder, signaling your brain that you have to go, even when there are only a few drops ready to come out. Research from the American Urological Association shows that waking up 2 or more times a night is one of the clearest indicators of prostate enlargement. If this sounds like your nightly routine, here is one clear action you can take this week. Cut off all fluids exactly 2 hours before you put your head on the pillow, and strictly avoid nighttime caffeine or alcohol, which irritate the bladder lining. Of course, if this nighttime waking came on suddenly, mention it to your doctor at your next visit. The second warning sign is a weak stream or hesitation at the urinal. You stand there waiting for things to start, or when it finally does, the flow is a trickling stream rather than a strong, steady current. Think of it like trying to water your garden with a heavy weight resting on the hose. No matter how much water is in the spigot, only a fraction makes it out the end. What is happening internally is that your bladder muscle is overworking to push fluid past the squeezed prostate opening. Over time, that muscle gets tired and stretched out. Studies published in major urological journals highlight that a reduced flow rate is directly tied to increased tissue volume in the central zone of the prostate. To take action this week, try practicing double voiding. When you finish urinating, sit or stand comfortably for an extra 30 seconds, lean slightly forward, and try to go one more time. This simple technique helps empty that lingering reservoir without straining. The third sign is an overwhelming sense of urgency, that sudden, irresistible urge where you feel like you have to find a restroom right now or risk an accident. This happens because your bladder muscle, constantly fighting against an obstructed path, becomes hyper-irritable and starts contracting unpredictably, even when it isn't full. It is like an overly sensitive car alarm that goes off every time a feather touches the hood. Many doctors are seeing this symptom severely limit men's freedom, making long road trips or 18 holes of golf feel stressful. To begin taking back control this week, start keeping a simple 2-day bladder diary. Note what you drink, when you go, and when you feel that sudden panic. Taking this log to your next Medicare annual physical gives your physician concrete data to work with. Quick pause right here. If this is connecting the dots for you today, tap that like button. It really helps this video reach more seniors who need to hear this message. And tell me in the comments, have you ever had to map out rest stops before taking a road trip? Now for warning sign number 4, the one I warned you about earlier. Deep lower back, hip, or pelvic stiffness that feels like a dull ache. Most men over 60 brush this off as arthritis, a pulled muscle from lifting the grandkids, or just soreness from working in the yard. But your prostate sits right in front of the rectum and directly below the bladder, surrounded by a dense network of nerves and blood vessels. When the prostate swells significantly or becomes inflamed, That pressure radiates outward into your pelvis and lower back. Research from top academic medical centers suggests that pelvic discomfort combined with urinary changes often points to significant prostatic congestion or inflammation. If you are noticing this deep ache alongside urinary changes, your action step this week is to schedule a routine prostate examination and ask your doctor about checking your PSA levels. Remember, never ignore persistent deep pelvic pain or stop any current medications without talking to your physician first. The fifth sign is dribbling at the end of urination or feeling like your bladder is never truly empty. You finish up, step away, and a few moments later, you experience leakage. This happens because the enlarged prostate prevents the bladder's internal sphincter from sealing completely, leaving a small pool of trapped urine at the base of the urethra that leaks out once you move. Beyond the obvious frustration, leaving residual urine in the bladder creates a breeding ground for bacteria. Studies link chronic incomplete bladder emptying to a much higher risk of urinary tract infections and bladder stones in older men. Your clear action step this week is to avoid rushing in the bathroom. Give your body the time it needs, relax your pelvic floor muscles completely, and avoid bearing down or straining, which actually tightens the muscles around the prostate and makes emptying harder. The sixth and final sign is a sudden change in how often you go during the daytime, feeling the need to head to the restroom every hour or two. When your prostate narrows the pathway, your bladder loses its elastic storage capacity. Instead of holding a comfortable pint of fluid, it can only manage a few ounces before sending warning signals to your brain. This constant disruption forces you to plan your entire day around bathroom locations, whether you are running errands, visiting family, or heading to the hardware store. To manage this during the week, try reducing your intake of artificial sweeteners and highly acidic foods like citrus or heavy tomato sauces, which are known to irritate the bladder lining and trigger frequent spasms. Let me tell you about a patient of mine named Arthur. Arthur is 67, recently retired down in Sarasota, and loves spending his mornings on the tennis court. But last year, he started waking up 4 times a night. He was exhausted, irritable, and started skipping his morning tennis games because he felt too drained to play. He assumed it was just what happens after 60 and suffered in silence for nearly 8 months. When he finally came into my office, we evaluated his prostate, made a few targeted adjustments to his daily routine, and worked with his primary physician to adjust his treatment plan. Within 6 weeks, Arthur was down to waking up just once a night. He got his energy back, got his mornings back, and returned to the tennis court feeling 10 years younger. Tonight, here is your 5-step plan to take charge of your prostate health. First, stop drinking all liquids 2 hours before bedtime. Second, eliminate evening caffeine and alcohol. Third, practice double voiding every time you use the bathroom today. Fourth, start a 2-day bladder diary to track your patterns. And fifth, call your doctor's office tomorrow morning to schedule your annual prostate checkup. In our next video, we are going to dive into the 3 common pantry staples sitting in your kitchen right now that quietly irritate your prostate every single day, and the one simple tea that can help soothe your bladder naturally. I am Dr. Carl. Stay well, and I will see you there.